Good morning, and welcome to episode 7 of Mr. Wizard's Weekly Workshop, broadcasting from the Accountability Wizard studio somewhere in Middle Earth. Episode 7, focus this week is what are your core values? So welcome to the live workshop. As I said, broadcast to you from the Accountability Wizard recording studio. The motto of our show is, we show up every week, even if you don't.
Bueller.
So this week's actionable task, to write down at least one of your core values. As usual, if you get some benefit from this video, hit that like and subscribe buttons. And if you have any follow-up questions, I will be recording this, so you might be watching it after the fact. If you got any questions, post, and I'll try to answer them. And if you know anybody that would enjoy a benefit from this video, appreciate it if you shared the link with them. So what are core values? This is Happy Buddha. I like Happy Buddha images, and maybe get you into a little bit of a contemplative state, because this is a fairly important and deep subject. So core values are the root beliefs that a person operates from. You can think of them as the principal perspectives that guide your actions and behaviors. So another definition is a defined system of beliefs that help people know the difference between right and wrong. I could have added our organization to the three definitions above, but my focus is on coaching solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, not large organizations. So I don't believe you can separate your personal core values from your business or profession. You can't have one set of personal core values and a conflicting set of core values for your work life. If your business doesn't reflect and embody your personal core values, I think your self-esteem will go into the tank. You'll be out of integrity, and your business will likely tank also. So I think of that as dancing with the devil. So why is this a topic worthy of your consideration? Why should you care? So you might have already given some attentional thought to try to get clear on what your core values are. Or you might have a religious affiliation of some kind, which you assume gives you the framework that you need. Or you could be thinking, I have more shit to do than I can get to. Why would I spend time thinking about and writing down what my core beliefs are? So inner work is actually important. I think it's fair to say that probably 80 to 90% of success happens above the shoulders. So you need to get your mind right. I think this is something that play an extremely important role in shaping how you respond to situations, how you set your business goals, as well as shaping your whole attitude towards life. Everyone's set of core values, or specific core values, are unique to them and heavily influenced by their life experience. So your individual core values describe where you can make your highest and most productive contribution to the world. And there's a huge amount of research out there on core values, but they can change as your career and personal life develops and evolves, or devolves in some unfortunate cases. So even if you have given some thought to this, and I've gone through this exercise in the past, I have a list of 4 core values, but I haven't visited in a while. So for today's exercise, I'll share one of those with you guys, and kind of talk through the steps you can go through to land on your core value. So as I mentioned, there's lots of different research out there, different frameworks for values. So this is a model developed by Dr. Schwartz, where his theory of basic human values, and he puts 4 different dimensions on them, and then lists some, I'd say, categories within those. So openness to change, self-transcendence, self-enhancement, conservation. And then within the slices within the pie are, I'd say, categories can help you think about and land on what's most important. So another model of values by Abraham Maslow, one of my favorite psychologists, I think one of the greatest psychologists in the 20th century. Towards the end of his career in life, he started doing some research and thinking and writing about these core values. He called them the being values or be values. Those values that resonate deep within us. And he didn't finish that work, but he identified what I think are some very useful categories. I just went ahead and listed over this page and the next page some of the categories and the thoughts, keywords that he put under them. And I put an asterisk by the one initially most resonate with me. So I won't read off the whole list for you, but for example, simplicity is one of those things that when I read that word, think about it, I would pick that out of this list as something I think could help shape my core. I put bullet points against several. I'm going to recommend that you pick 3 to no more than 5 core values. The one I'm going to focus on and talk about is playful. So there are other lists of core values. Okay, so this is, and you can always Google. Need some help in thinking about and getting lists, kind of jog your thinking. So here's one list. Back to my presentation, and I'll show you one more. So here's an even bigger list, like 102. As I said before, if you try to have 20 or 30 core values, if everything is important, really nothing's important. And the reality is there's going to be a handful of things that are truly your core. You don't need to, and you don't want to try to develop a really long. So here's a framework, a series of steps that you can use to do this work. Define your core values. Like I said, the action item for today is try to get to at least one very solid core value for you. Write it down. So step 1 is just decide this is actually worth doing. Try to make the case for that. If it doesn't make sense to you, then you're not going to do it. Let me say that I think it would be a valuable exercise for you. Then review a list of categories provided, and the one that most resonates with me. I got some good ideas by looking at some of the others. Is Maslow's list. Showed you that full list earlier. Pick a category that resonates strongly with you. Then the next step is think about how to describe the core value, your core value that belongs to that category. And here's some ways to think about that to get you to that. So consider the people that you most admire. What values do they show up with that makes them admirable? And think about your experiences. What gives you the most joy or satisfaction? Another way to think about it is what inspires you to take action. When do you feel most like yourself? Another way to approach it, and this seems counterintuitive, but think about the qualities that you most despise in other people, because or at least in my case, I picked playfulness. So I don't despise people who have a stick up their butt, are completely humorless, dull and dry, but it's not an attractive quality. And the last thing and most important thing is write it down. And then just repeat this process until you have a list of, like I say, 3 to 5. I think 4 is kind of the magic number, but no more than 5. For example, I picked the category of playfulness, which might be a little bit surprising to you since I'm accountability coach, a 44-year career in IT as a project manager and director of project managers, running high visibility, high pressure, high dollar projects for many large organizations, which don't actually have a sense of humor. DoD, FBI, Texaco, American Express, they're not really a culture of playful. But it is something that, based on my experience and, what I enjoy doing and how I like to show up in the world, and thinking about even those fairly rare cases where I could, where I could indulge, it, it worked for me. It was inspiring, and I actually believe that having, a light touch most of the time and having a sense of humor is a good management tool. So I'm going to flip over again. As a reminder, I said write it down. So I had an older list when I just started. Picked the category playfulness. The basic definition is the quality of being lighthearted or full of fun. I think you can also imply with that, or part of that is being authentic, if that part of your nature. So the exercise for you is do the same, which is actually open up a Word document, Evernote, whatever tool you use to write down things. So what's next? Here's some follow-up questions that could help you clarify where and how your 3 to 5 core values actually show up in your life. As I said, do this exercise for each of the core values you've written down. Think about, how do you define what actions, activities that do you take that reflect this value? What else could you do to further align yourself with this value? Could you do more to include this value in your daily life? And if so, what? How would you do? Thanks again, and as for watching, as I said, if you're watching this video after, please post a question, or I'm open to comments, feedback. I will always respond. Thanks again, and have a great rest of your day.